Hello, I'm Tommy Vinson, and it's my privilege to come to you today and share a devotional thought with you. I'm excited to be back at Kirby again. It was my privilege some time back to serve as interim here, and I'm grateful for the invitation to come and do that again. And I hope you'll share with us in these devotional thoughts, but I also would invite you to come and worship with us anytime that you can. In these thoughts, devotionally for the next few weeks, I'd like to bring some thoughts to you out of the book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 8. And really, I want to ask you a question, and that is this. Do you love Jesus Christ? Now, I want you to notice the nature of that question. I didn't ask you, do you love the church? I don't even ask you, do you love Kirby Woods Baptist Church? But I'm going to ask you, do you love Jesus Christ? The interesting thing is that Peter, during his lifetime, was asked two major questions by the Lord Jesus Christ. I kind of call it his life exam. And those two major questions were these. The first one is, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? That was the first question Jesus asked Peter. It had to do with the person of Christ. And really, eternity hangs in the balance with that question. Who is Jesus Christ? Well, Peter did well in his answer because he said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Now, he answered that question correctly, and Jesus then, at a later point in his life and ministry, asked him this second question. Peter, do you love me? And he didn't just ask him once. If you remember the story, while they're by the sea where Peter has been fishing and caught nothing, and Jesus comes early in the morning and cooks breakfast and invites Peter to come and have breakfast with him. And during that conversation, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, Peter, do you love me? Now, that question hung in Peter's heart. He never forgot it. And years later, when he's writing his first epistle to a persecuted church, he makes this statement in chapter 1 and verse 8 of 1 Peter. He says, whom having not seen, you love, in whom though now you see him not, yet believing you rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory. I think Peter is reflecting back on that day when Jesus asked him, Peter, do you love me? Peter is really posing that question to us today. And then he gives in this context of 1 Peter 1:8, beginning in verse 1 and down through verse 8, he gives us a number of reasons why we should love Jesus Christ. And really, it's basically my own personal testimony, because I could easily title these devotions, Why I Love Jesus Christ. And so let me just share with you some of the reasons why. You may be listening to me and you say, well, I don't love Jesus Christ. Well, that's your prerogative, my precious friend, to not love him. But would you allow me the privilege to share with you some reasons why I personally think he is worthy of your love? Now, the first thing that we see is found in chapter 1 and verse 1. Let me read 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 1 to you. It says, Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to those who are elect exiles of the dispensation in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, according to the foreknowledge of God the Father, in the sanctification of the Spirit, for obedience to Jesus Christ and for the sprinkling of his blood. Now, in those two verses, there are at least two reasons why that I love Jesus Christ. The first one is this. I love him because he loved me first. Now, that's found in that word grace here. You see, all of it has to do with grace. He says we are exiles, but we are elect exiles, and we have been called by the Spirit of God. He uses the word elect here, in the sense that it is God that took the initiative in our salvation. There is an unresolved tension in my spirit between the sovereignty of God, which I do not question one bit, and my responsibility to God in terms of making choices. And this word elect just kind of brings to the focus God's initiative in our salvation. In other words, we love Him. Why? Because He first loved us. I know love makes all the difference in the world. When I was in high school, I fell in love for the first time. I was attending a school and my father got a job in another school district and moved, and so we were in the beginning of my junior year, and I was heartbroken because I was leaving all my friends, and I played basketball. I was leaving the basketball team, and so I was heartbroken until I got to the other school. And about the second week I was there, I was watching ball practice, and this beautiful little black-headed girl walked in front of me. And I said to one of my new friends, "Who is that?" And he said, "That's my sister." Well, that little black-headed girl became my wife 54 years ago. You know, I forgot about everything else. I forgot about even the old school district and my friends there. I didn't forget about my friends, but I fell in love, and that made all the difference in the world. You know, when Jesus becomes first in our life, it makes a difference. And my dear friend, over the next few weeks as we talk about why I love Jesus, I hope you will fall in love with Him. Next time we'll begin to unpackage this text concerning many reasons why He deserves our love. God bless you.